Federal officials say a mysterious company has purchased nearly $1 billion of land surrounding Travis Air Force Base, one of the most critical military bases in the western U.S. Democratic Congressman John Garamendi raised the alarm to the U.S. Air Force, prompting a federal investigation. In your briefings on the matter, do you have any reason to believe the purchase of this land is for spying?
I have every reason in the world to believe that this land is in an area in which spy operations or any other nefarious activity could take place that could detrimentally impact the ability of Travis Air Force Base to operate in a moment of national emergency.
Public records show the company, Flannery Associates LLC, began purchasing the land in 2018, and investigators say those acquisitions ramped up this year.
But now literally 3 sides of that base is totally controlled by the Flannery Group. Nobody knew who they were. Who are these people? Where did they get the money that they can pay 5 to 10 times the normal value that others would pay for this farmland?
8 months of investigation, yet
we do not know where this money is coming from.
Do you have any reason to believe China is tied to this group?
I have reason to be concerned.
Garamendi says an attorney representing Flannery Associates indicated the firm is made up of a group of families, 97% of whom are allegedly American, looking to diversify their portfolio from equities to real assets, including agricultural land. But the congressman is skeptical.
Well, we have heard scheme after scheme. That makes no sense at all. We're going to build a deep water port. Really? Around Travis Air Force Base, which is 10 miles from the bay? We're going to farm. Well, at that price, you're going to lose a lot of money farming. We're going to build a city. No, you're not going to build a city here for all kinds of reasons. So none of the reasons why the land is being acquired make any sense at all.
What do you think is happening?
I don't know.
According to Garamendi, Flannery Associates has also acquired land around the interstate electrical grid system, all the way from the Columbia River into central California. This includes land that houses wind turbines that provide significant power into Northern California.
It's the secrecy here. What's going on? If you're not a nefarious operation, why are you keeping it secret?
A secretive group called Flannery Associates continues to buy land up around Travis Air Force Base, and nobody can figure out where the group is getting its money. And Flannery Associates is doing a lot to hide it. Over the past few years, Chinese ownership groups have bought up land near other Air Force bases, specifically Grand Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota, Laughlin in Texas. Congressman John Garamendi is on the House Armed Services Committee, joins us now. Good to see you, Congressman, as always. What are we going to know the truth of first, about UFOs or who's funding Flannery and Associates?
Well, I suspect we'll know more about Flannery. It's clear that a serious investigation is underway, and they should be. This just doesn't make any financial sense. It makes no sense for any business, given the multiple, maybe 5 times, 10 times the normal price of land in this area. So what's going on here? They have surrounded one of the most important air bases on the West Coast, and this is the way we get to the Pacific. Anything happened in the Pacific with China, this base would be the way in which the U.S. Air Force and military would transit across the Pacific.
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist or anything, but when you look at the map of where they have bought up land, it would not be that hard to hide some surface-to-air missiles in any one of these little homes or buildings or anything else that they've bought around Travis Air Force Base. And at the right moment, you'd have low-flying U.S. planes, especially the transports that you could take out. Something the U.S. military should never really consider. My question is, how did we get to this point? We have a map of this. They've already spent $800 million. How did we get to this point without it raising some alarms?
Well, we've been raising the alarm for about the last 18 to 2 months now. The purchases started slow, and the county didn't pay too much attention. The Air Force Base didn't pay much attention. But now we do know that the base is surrounded on 3 sides. That's been apparent for almost 2 years now. And the 52,000 acres in the area has been purchased. We also know that they're paying substantially more, multiples, sometimes 5, in some cases 10 times what land in that area once was sold for. And very interestingly, several of the ranchers in that area did not want to sell their land. They had a family heritage, and Flannery and Associates decided they would sue the landowners because apparently the landowners were talking amongst themselves, what's going on here? And they were suing them for constraint of trade by refusing to sell their land. Now, that's a very novel lawsuit. But the result of it is the families had to defend themselves in federal court, and two of them simply said, we cannot afford the lawyers to defend ourselves, and they have subsequently sold their land.
Fascinating. And look, maybe now after 2 years you can get an answer. I'm wondering, just in the big picture, and you've been one of the people at the forefront, the tip of the spear, really ringing the alarm bells about what China is doing to infiltrate the United States. Are we sort of in the mid 1930s, and everybody's going, oh, it's okay, Mercedes-Benz should be able to build some plants around U.S. military bases? There just seems to be a complete lack of understanding of how good the Chinese are and the long game they're playing.
Well, certainly they're playing a long game, and certainly they are willing to make extraordinary investments all around the world in what they consider to be strategic locations. And certainly Travis Air Force Base is a strategic location, as was Grand Forks in North Dakota. We don't know where the money's coming from. The Associates, the LLC, says, well, they're all American. Well, that's fine, but show me the money. Where is it coming from? Follow the money. And clearly, by owning the land on three sides of this base, right up to the fence, they have positioned, Flannery and Associates is positioned to do some nasty stuff at that base. I don't think surface-to-air missiles are what we're talking about here, but clearly listening, disrupting in multiple ways, all of that is possible, and it doesn't take much. If a strategic airlift is going across the Pacific, if it were to be delayed or somehow canceled, that would be a significant problem for the U.S. military on the far western side of the Pacific. And so we need to know. Keep in mind that the big internet ties from electrical ties, grids from the Columbia River go right through this area.